So today we're going to be talking about LA, and I love LA. I really do. And I'm going to talk about right now an exercise I did when I was thinking, oh, maybe I had some wondering about whether I wanted to do entertainment industry. I'd say about 6 months ago, because I had a really unpleasant experience in LA, which I'll get into. But I basically had to do this sheet, and we had to write on the top when I was thinking about switching my branding or whatever and going into coding, actually, we had to write each job that we've ever had on the top of a piece of paper and write all our responsibilities underneath it. And all of my jobs have been in the entertainment industry or related to a camera. And aside from being a massage therapist, which I also liked, but whatever. Anyway, I had to do all the tasks, and then anything I didn't like doing, I had to put a big X through it. And you know what? I had almost 0 X's. Meanwhile, everybody in the class had tons of X's and things that they hated doing about the jobs that they had had in the past. So I didn't have hardly any, which is both exciting and frustrating, because here is my big thing about LA. LA, they want you to fuel your work with passion. And what I mean by that is not with the food you can buy, not with the cell phone service you can buy, not with your rent in a nice place, not with getting sleep. And to make that more clear, what I'm saying is the professionals in LA are vastly underpaid, and it doesn't matter what level of the industry you're in. They're going to say, oh, well, don't you care about your career? Because if you did, you wouldn't mind that you're getting paid so low. This is your passion. Don't you want to live your dream? And yes, and I want to pay my cell phone bill. And they don't understand that. So that, my last straw for LA, and again, I want to reiterate, I love the city. I love my industry. I love what I do. I love directing. I love producing. I enjoy acting. I don't really want to leave that industry, and I'm not, but there is an aspect to it where, especially in LA, you're expected to work for free or very low pay. And I was working for a company that had when I got there, they just got a huge increase in their budget, and they were just, I could tell that the people working there long term were not paid right, in my opinion, for a deceptively expensive city like LA, and also for and also for me, where I had used my savings to move over there, which again, I was like, I know, they're going to expect that, it's LA, whatever. But they also had implied that it would be a full-time job with good pay and, insurance, and that's another thing about LA, because there's the art of implying things that aren't really there. And again, I kind of was like, they're going to love me so much that they're going to be like, we definitely want this girl. But then I got there and I realized that the person who had hired me was under the constraint of a certain budget. And so I had to, I didn't have to. I chose not to stay, because I'm like, after I worked out the numbers in Los Angeles, and after I worked out, I've been doing this for almost 2 decades now, it didn't make any sense to me. So I left. And it's always been that economic thing in Los Angeles, and I've always said I'd be happy to go back if the economics were right, if my pay was accurate for what the cost of living is in that city. And it hasn't been. I mean, it is intermittently, but also freelancing should get more because it's intermittent. So, and then just the aspect of you're expected to work like a slave in order to, follow your dream. It's very predatory in that way. In the same way that Harvey Weinstein was predatory toward women, saying, don't you want to follow your dream and let me be a slime ball and icky? That is how that's done on an economic level in Los Angeles too. I don't want to dissuade you from Los Angeles, because I know in other videos, and I still agree with this, it is the best education you could possibly have in the entertainment industry. You are talking industry. Everyone you meet is in the industry. You are constantly going to screenings, working on productions. And I bet it's even more now, because that was happening when I was there, but I haven't been there in a long time. And now everybody and their brother makes a movie in Los Angeles. So I'm sure everyone is constantly busy. And that is fantastic. And you end up collaborating so much and learning so much. And then when you are networking and meeting people and you're going out to events, and there's tons of events to go to, you are technically working, but it's so much fun because you're meeting all these great artistic people who are very generous and kind and caring. But there are some aspects of people who hire, and I'm not talking about the indie people or your friends who are just trying to get their creativity out there and are asking you for a favor. Do those favors, that's great. But if they have a budget that can afford you to, I don't know, pay your cell phone bill, then, and they're not giving it, and then they try to finagle with the, oh, but don't you want to follow your dream? Which happens a lot in Los Angeles, then no. And also, quality of life, your expectations for quality of life will degrade. And I became starkly aware of this when I got there, and the woman, I don't know if well, you're not going to know who she is. The woman who, so I spoke about New York. In LA, in New York, it's just like, oh, most people have a backup of, if they can, they save for, at least, a month or two's, emergency, funds or whatever. They save money. They do invest in an IRA. They do, even freelancers. And you're taught to do that here. There's something called the Freelancers Union in New York, and they are teaching people how to get the insurance and all that stuff. So it's encouraged and taught. In Los Angeles, it's encouraged and taught to fly by the seat of your pants. And also going back to that, well, don't you want to follow your dream? If you're not, I literally said to my boss as I was leaving, so essentially I have to be independently wealthy or go into debt to continue to do this job because you're going to underpay me. And he just goes like, he didn't look at me, but I was just like, no, no, I don't want to go there again. And in LA, it's expected you do that, and if you don't, again, you're not making the leap and following your dream. But I'm a huge proponent of the artist's way in making leaps. But in Los Angeles, when they sell it to you like that, run, okay? Because they're just exploiting. Okay, take it from someone who has made so many leaps. And a few of them were worth it, but a few of them are just me, being like, well, you're right. Maybe I don't care enough if I'm not willing to go into debt in order to work for this production. So, and my point going back to having the savings account and the practicality of being on the East Coast, on the West Coast, that goes out the window. And the woman I was staying with in an Airbnb, I mean, her living conditions were crazy. If you ever look at the Airbnb from Los Angeles, they shove like 20 people into a room and everybody's just okay with it, with one bathroom. I was reading some reviews were like, I don't get it. Why is there only one bathroom for 20 people? But because people are hustling and trying to make their money and shoving, and other people are, following their dream and are okay with staying with 20 strangers with one bathroom. Yikes. So this woman who had, roaches and all this stuff was, again, flying by the seat of her pants, no savings, but went to these expensive parties to network for her nonprofit. And I get that, and she cares about her nonprofit, but again, she wasn't being like, I can't sustain my nonprofit unless I can pay rent every month, So, because or whatever, she'd pay, I don't know, it was crazy what she would, she was doing Lyft and renting the car. So she was paying like $800 a month to rent their Uber car. And so basically just paying it off. But she had a car, but she only kind of needed it when she would get like catering gigs. It was so weird. And I'm like, why don't you just get a cheap car? But that one that qualifies for Lyft. And she's like, no, I don't want to manage a car. And I'm like, you're managing a car right now. So that's the kind of disjointed whatever. And she was totally okay with living like that. And I am, okay, maybe I am judging a little bit. I don't understand. She was also a little older, and I understand when in your 20s when you do that. I don't know, when it's older, she couldn't drive her Uber for longer or Lyft for over 4 hours because her body started aching. That's just like a really rough way to live. I have compassion for her, not judgment. And I have compassion for people who still opt for that. I just, and I kind of wish I was still okay with that, because I really do love LA. It is so fun, so social, so creative, and people are awesome. It's just the economic thing that doesn't work for me anymore. and the expectation that I don't honor my financial space and my energy space and my living space, and that is expected. The other aspect that I both love and hate about Los Angeles is that you are constantly networking with everyone in the entertainment industry. So the thing is, it's always in your face. So you're always like, oh, I should probably finish my screenplay, because you just met 4 screenplay writers, and it like encourages you, and everybody is lifting each other up. People smile. They are encouraging for the most part, and positive. And I found that to be so wonderful. At the same time, I really missed talking to, just people, like normal people, you know what I mean, who weren't in the industry and who didn't have that shiny LA thing going on. And you'll know what that means if you live there 2 years, but this is a different language. And after I left LA, I went on a cross-country trip, and I could feel this whole like facade of LA. And I felt this when I would come back to New York and talk with, friends from New York. I felt like I had this facade, and it was these habits that I had formed in Los Angeles of presentation and everything, which is beautiful and also sometimes not real and very sometimes contrived, and everybody does it out there. That's what I sensed, because I could pick it up in other people too, and there's a conversation and a presentation that you have, and I can't even put that part into words, but I was able to just go like, hi people in North Dakota, yeah, let's go eat some sugar-free candy and walk around this campground, and I just appreciated that so much after living in Los Angeles so long. So, but at the same time, I really appreciated having that very conscious presentation of who I'm being. So this is a long video. I apologize for going this long, but I really feel like LA is its own. And also, just if you're an actor, don't go until you've really got a good resume. You're in the union, at least one, you're in SAG, and maybe some other ones. Don't expect to do theater that's respected unless you're at the Pantages. Go to, just know you're going to be doing film and movies and everything, or commercials or that stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on. Just know that if you introduce yourself as an actor, you might get not as pleasant a reaction as you do in New York or other places, pretty much everywhere else in the country. So that is my summary in LA. Production, no, it's great. Perfect place to network, and you'll get some nice, okay, cool, let's do this kind of interactions, and you'll make lots of contacts and friends. It's fantastic. I recommend that if you go, don't just go to the networking things. Go do fun stuff like play softball. That's what I ended up doing. But just find, there's a meetup that I did while I was living there. It's a board game meetup. It was great. Find other ways to meet people that ideally don't necessarily, beach volleyball is another one, don't necessarily relate to the entertainment industry, but will, have you meeting people, but then, it feels like fun rather than work. And that's all I'm going to say. If you have your opinions about LA, I'd love to hear them. Leave a comment below. If you like this video, please like this video with the button. Also, not just like, I like this video. Do it externally too. I'm sorry. I'm still getting used to ending like this. And also, please subscribe if you also like this video. That's it for me. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you next time.